Why does the Hagia Sophia simultaneously embrace two religions? There's perhaps no other building with such a tumultuous history as the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, Turkey. It has been continuously built, then suffered fatal destruction, only to be rebuilt again. What's more, as a religious structure, it has been forced to undergo constant changes in faith. Today, the Hagia Sophia stands as the only church in the world to simultaneously adhere to Catholicism and Islam. How did this happen? Over 1,600 years ago, during the reign of Emperor Constantine I, Turkey was under the dominion of the Byzantine Empire. The emperor, in his grandeur, decided to build a grand church for the imperial family, thus giving birth to the predecessor of the Hagia Sophia, the Great Church. Later, due to a dispute with the empress, the church's patriarch was exiled, leading his supporters to vandalize the Great Church, rendering it unusable. Despite subsequent renovations, the church suffered from fires, facing numerous trials and tribulations. It wasn't until 532 AD, when Emperor Justinian I swore to build an even more magnificent church on the site of the Great Church's ruins. He gathered over 10,000 people to participate in the construction, and within 5 years, the new Hagia Sophia was completed. However, it took an additional 30 years for artisans to decorate the interior with mosaics. At this time, the Hagia Sophia was still dedicated to Christianity, specifically Eastern Orthodoxy, as the Byzantine Empire was essentially the Eastern Roman Empire, and the highest deity for the people of Turkey at that time was the Christian God. Nearly 700 years later, during the Fourth Crusade, the Hagia Sophia was occupied by the Latin Empire, and many of the church's sacred objects were plundered to the west, resulting in a major loss for the Byzantine Empire. During this period, the Hagia Sophia adopted Catholicism, and Baldwin I, the leader of the First Crusade, was crowned king in the church. However, a few decades later, the Byzantines regained sovereignty over Constantinople, and the Hagia Sophia reverted to Christianity. But when did the church begin to adhere to Islam? In 1453 AD, the Ottoman Turks conquered Constantinople, and Mehmed II converted the Hagia Sophia into a mosque. 100 years later, the mosque was in a dilapidated state, with its doors and windows nearly falling apart. To stabilize the mosque, the world's first seismic engineer, Koka Mimar Sinan Aga, added 4 large minarets to the exterior, giving the mosque distinct Islamic features. Starting from 1739 AD, several Ottoman sultans ruling Constantinople successively undertook repairs on the mosque, with the most famous restoration occurring from 1847 to 1849 AD. During this time, the Sultan ordered architects to make extensive changes to both the interior and exterior decorations of the mosque. The Christian mosaics depicting Christ and the saints were erased, replaced by large circular motifs. Thus, throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, the Hagia Sophia continued to exist as a mosque, albeit retaining its church structure. However, the deity worshipped inside became Allah. It wasn't until 1935 AD when the situation suddenly changed. That year, Turkey converted the Hagia Sophia into a museum. Plaster covering Christian mosaics was carefully removed by experts, and Christian decorations on the floor were once again displayed. As the church had become a public building, the deities once worshipped inside were respected by all, coexisting within the church, receiving daily reverence, prayers and worship from their faithful followers.